Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you guys? This is Chris Barron for the 4th of November 2020. If you're tired about hearing about the election in the United States, welcome to the live chat. Today we're gonna do a review regarding an app, and I'll also tell you a few ideas about this specific book, which I absolutely hate, which is a total pain in the neck, and hopefully you'll be able to learn something. If not, at least I'm gonna tell a few things for myself, and I promise I'm gonna watch this clip in about a year or so. I think I'm gonna make an alarm on my phone because I really want to nail something regarding the amount of stress in my life and how I should handle it. But first, the design side. So let's start the screen sharing and jump straight into it, because I saw today a very interesting design. This is it. This is an app design, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really lovely. And obviously, the designer asked for a review. He asked for some suggestions regarding how he can improve it. And I basically said that, man, it's too difficult to actually say in a few words how you can improve it, because there's quite a lot of screens, and obviously it's not that straightforward. The first thing that's really important is that this is a Behance presentation, right? So Behance presentation is basically something that looks a bit more polished, a bit more interesting. Let me show you the actual Behance presentation. So you can see that he actually spent some time into making it all nice and lovely. And this basically has only one purpose in mind, and that's to actually get likes. So when you do a presentation like this, where you have all sorts of, design elements and whatnot on the background, this is basically telling a story. This is basically a nice packaging, right? And basically, there's nothing wrong with it. I think this increases your chances on a platform like 99 Designs by basically 10 to 20%. So it's not really a game changer, but it's definitely something that you should consider. The problem is you need to do something that's related to the actual design. And in this specific case, I think, everything that you see here, this took quite a while. I think, if he spent about, let's say 10 hours creating everything that you see here, the presentation is at least 5 hours, because it's time consuming. There's loads of things that you have to consider. So it's not really all that straightforward. So that's the number one thing that I'd like to mention. Creating a presentation is not useful for very low contests. By low, I mean 200, 300, even $400 contests. That's not a great way to work. My advice: grind away, make sure your skill level is high enough, and then make that transition to 800, 1000, $1200. But wasting your time, creating an elaborate presentation won't do you any good. And I really just want to spend a few more minutes on this topic alone, because for whatever reason, this happens more than not. Designers really feel like they need a portfolio. They need loads of links, loads of likes on Behance or on Dribble. They feel like they need to get into this Instagram type game where the more number of likes, the better chances of actually getting hired. And that's false. That's totally false. If you're a beginner and if you think you're gonna get jobs from Facebook or Instagram, you're totally wrong. If you're a beginner and you think you're gonna get jobs from Behance likes, you're totally wrong. Same thing with Dribble. Same thing with UP Labs, although they changed their platform. So in short, beautiful presentations, they don't help you actually get more jobs. Likes themselves 100% don't get you more jobs or more likes. Instead, what you can do is, indeed, you can take a $200 contest, package it real nicely, and get a job. But that's totally different, right? So again, you go on Design Crowd or 99 Designs, you get some random contests, some basic contests, not a lot of money. You create 3-4 of them, you package them like you see here, really nice, and then you apply for a job. Now that's a great strategy. That shows attention to detail. That shows that you care. Because in general, design agencies, they typically do stuff like this. They package, any design, whether it's a logo or packaging a book cover or whatever, they package it really nice before they send it to the client for the review. This is why I was constantly telling this specific student to stop sending me the presentation, send me the actual link, send me the file itself, the design itself, so I can zoom in, so I can watch it at 100%, right? I don't care for these phone mock-ups, I don't care for the background, just show me the actual design. Because this is not at 100%, I'm not really sure if the sizing is correct. I'm not sure if these lines are 1 pixel or 2 pixel lines, and so on, right? So there's a huge distinction in showing your design in front of some designers and showing your design to a client, or obviously to a potential employee. So yeah, that's one thing that I really wanna point out. So don't design for likes. If you wanna boil it down, don't design for likes. You won't get any benefit whatsoever. You're not gonna become the Kim Kardashian of the design world. It's simply not possible. And you know what? Let me actually spend a few more moments on that as well, because it's something that it's really difficult. So listen, I tried a while back this game of getting likes, and it's basically impossible for me and my skill set. So if you like web design, if you like app design, if you like general graphic design, meaning whatever, Facebook covers, Instagram posts, YouTube thumbnails, brochures, whatever, packaging, and basically things like that, you won't get a huge following on any major platform. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and whatnot. It's pure and simple. It's not exciting enough. It's not visually stunning enough. This type of content will never gather whatever the millions of views, because it simply doesn't happen. Now, what does gather views is what this guy is doing. So this is Benny Productions, and you can see only 86 videos and already 1 million subscribers, right? And most of his videos immediately have 3 days, 400,000 views. So this type of thing, totally, right? And if you look at his thumbnails, you can see why they're so attractive. You can see the millions of views that he's gathering, right? But that's it. If you're into digital painting, if you're into compositing and things like that, sure, you may get a huge following. You may get 4 million views. But unless you're doing stuff like this, which is again basically compositing and digital painting and various other things, let's actually see the end result here. Unless you do stuff like this, come on, show us the end result. Okay, here it is. Unless you do stuff like this, regarding whatever popular shows, characters, The Mandalorian, whatever, Call of Duty, whatever, Harry Potter and whatnot, you're not gonna get huge views. It's pure and simple, right? As far as I'm concerned, this is the type of thing that really gets views, because everybody likes to watch the creation process, right? Everybody likes to see how something transforms in an incredible way. But regarding web design, it's never gonna be exciting. Regarding this type of project, it's never gonna be exciting, no matter how good it is, right? Let's say this is an 8.5 out of 10, which is quite respectable as far as I'm concerned. You're never ever gonna get 500,000 views. Even if you make it a 10 out of 10, it's simply not exciting enough. At least that's what I believe. That's how I see things. No matter how beautiful the website is, how great it converts, the graphics, if you draw them yourself, the process itself, it's not interesting enough. So again, trying to actually get whatever 1,000 likes or whatever number of likes you want on Facebook or Instagram or Dribble or Behance or whatever, it's simply not gonna help you in the slightest sense. Clients are not spending time there. The best possible chance is that maybe an employer from your country is possibly gonna browse the charts and he's possibly gonna see you. It's 5%, maybe less. So let's get into the actual design review, because I've been babbling for quite a while now. So Spooky Book, I don't think this is a real app. I think this is just something for practice purposes, basically. Let's see what's what. And you can see, because Google Plus actually doesn't exist, and this is the wrong icon. And this is something that, again, I feel most designers overlook. So if I ask for the whatever, a Facebook cover for my Photoshop course or whatever, right? This, what you see here in my bar, that's the actual Photoshop logo, right? But if you Google, you're bound to see, let me show you, you're bound to see several others. For example, this is CS6, this is Photoshop Express. So if you submit a design for me that's using this one, I 100% know that you're not paying attention, that you don't actually care for my project, that you're just using stuff off the top of your head, that you're not actually putting in actual effort, right? It's the same thing here. One single icon shows that you're not actually up to date. It shows that you're not actually working with a developer or a development company, and that your designs are actually being built. That one icon alone. Now, I promise you, it's that cutthroat. It's that obvious. Clients that constantly create projects, or development companies that constantly churn out projects, when they see a design like that, they immediately say, man, this guy is an amateur. This guy has no clue. So we have to take him slow. We have to educate him. There's a good chance that he won't prepare the assets, the deliverables in a proper fashion. So this thing alone is something that I'm not really sure what to say about it. I'll do my best to include an update in Master Web Design in Photoshop. But it's one single thing. It's for example, just as an example, because this is on everybody's mind. For whatever reason, people are really divided now in the US regarding Trump versus Biden, right? And it's basically that simple. If you say I'm a Trump supporter, immediately everybody has a nasty opinion of you, right? Again, I don't want to discuss the details. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm just saying to make a point. So you say one single thing, right? I support Trump. All of a sudden, you're an incredibly, you're garbage, basically. You're the nasty human being by that one thing alone. So people judge you by the slightest thing, but by one piece of information, you're getting judged. It's the same thing in the design world. It's one single thing, right? It's whatever. It's like saying that you eat cats, right? It's, all of a sudden, everything just goes away. Everything about your image gets destroyed, because who the hell eats cats, right? It seems something so disgusting and unhuman and whatever, right? No disrespect for those who actually eat cats. But you get the idea. It's the same thing here. Don't use something that's so incredibly outdated. It's not a good look. Now, again, going back to the design side, something a bit more obvious. Never use one pixel lines. I don't like one pixel lines, especially for fields. I think they're really fuzzy. They never look right. What I tend to do is use 2 pixels. For whatever reason, 2 pixels looks much, much better. It's something that it's basically a night and day difference, and I strongly suggest you use 2 pixels. Let's actually make it. I've been constantly going back and forth between the actual Photoshop, the release version, and the pre-release version, this white one that you see here, and all my settings are a bit messed up. Okay. The stroke, no stroke, thank you. Yeah, so something like this, but obviously being gray. This in itself, it's not a huge improvement, right? What you see here, it's not something that's night and day. But when you apply it here and you apply it here, then all of a sudden it totally transforms everything. And you have to think about the following thing. Most apps have obviously fields, right? But the most important fields are in the checkout process. In the checkout process, that's where you actually lose the most important clients. So it's essential that you actually have a great design for your fields. This is not a great one. Again, 2 pixels is the best way to go about it. Next, unless you use a generous size for icons, I would not use outline icons. So what you see here, these are called outline icons or line icons. What you want to do instead is use filled icons. Now, unfortunately, I know they don't look as good, but it is what it is. So let's have a quick look here at that icon, the best source for the icons. And you have outline, right, and filled. Again, outline is what you see here. And again, these are more polished. They're more detailed. They look all that much better, right? And on the other hand, we have filled, which are, again, basic, not all that exciting. It is what it is, right? So I can understand why you would want to use outline icons, but it's not a good look here. As you can see, you can barely see them. Even if you zoom in real close, you can see that they're fuzzy. They're not really all that great. You can't see all the details, so because of that, it's not a good look. So that's one thing that I would 100% change. The next thing that's actually been a part of my app design course is how you separate a field versus a divider, right? First and foremost, you can see here that he actually did not hide this rectangle. So I think this person actually looked at my app design course and he saw my technique. So basically what you do is you create a rectangle like so. Let's actually remove this stroke because it's really bothering me. Let me actually quickly show you the procedure, right? So, come on. You can see because the thumbnail is so small, we're having issues. So, here's the deal. You create a selection like so, right? And then you have to hide it because you no longer need it. And then you select this line, and then you use a mask. And obviously it's not good, so you use Control-I to invert it, and that's that. But you have to make sure that you actually hide this rectangle. But this person did not. You can see that this rectangle has remained here. So that's quite a shame. That shows that, again, you're rushing things. And most likely, if I were to guess, I would say that you're working too zoomed out. Because if you're actually working at 100%, you can actually see this. You can actually see this rectangle and you can realize there's a problem. But if you're working like, let's say something like this, you no longer see it. So this again shows a problem. Welcome back, sign up. Okay, pretty good, confirmation. So this is pretty good stuff, right? This is pretty good. I like these details. These are pretty nice. The back icon, that's pretty good. I won't say anything too much about it. I think it's fine. The illustrations, again, bang on. They're from the same pack, it seems. I like the fact that they're all standing on this platform. This is pretty good. The rotator here is, again, something very nice that shows your progress. I think that's great stuff. The text, a bit hard to read. Again, I think he should have chose... he should have used a gray, something like this. Whereas this is much more dark. Let me see if I can actually get it. Nope, I can't actually get it. Okay, let's move on. Sample all layers. Okay. So this is the actual bread and butter. This is the actual content part, and let's see how this looks like. Now, in terms of the actual graphics, this is fantastic. This is beautiful. I like all the imagery. I like the titles. I like how everything is divided. I think this is fantastic. The bottom bar is pretty good, but why is favorite filled? So you can see that we're currently on the home screen, and favorite, for whatever reason, is just, it's a filled icon, whereas all these other ones are outlined. And again, this has a thicker line versus this one. So again, because of that, just a small thing that really is quite upsetting, because everything else is so fine. It's like creating a beautiful cake, right? A beautiful, lovely cake, and then you add some mustard on top of it. That's how I see it, right? You add mustard on cake. What the hell is wrong with you? It's these little things that, again, they show a lack of understanding of what's actually important. Because again, I promise you, this specific designer spent a whole lot of time selecting these graphics. And again, obviously they're beautiful, they're impactful, they make a strong statement, sure. But that content is just for show. That's not actually going to be used. That's just something to fill out that space. The actual content is going to be delivered via a server, and it's not your job, at least in this specific case, to actually create it. Your job is to actually create the app, not its content itself. That's a totally different job, and you should charge for it. So this is why you shouldn't spend all that much time focusing on the actual content, because again, that's not actually going to be used. So you have to make sure that the actual UI, the part that you're actually hired for, that's impeccable. So again, this is not cool, unfortunately. I like this. It makes a whole lot of sense. Extending the action area basically for the magnifying glass. Because again, that's something again that I talk about in my course. So the search icon is extremely small, right? And if we have fat thumbs, fat fingers actually, or fat thumbs by themselves, it's obviously difficult to actually pinpoint that specific icon. But if you include a background like so, all of a sudden the developers understands the deal. And even if you don't click precisely here, you can still click here or here or here, and it's still gonna work. So I really appreciate that. I think that's a great idea. But now, back to the negative points. Look at the pricing. It's so small. I mean, just extend it a little bit and it would have been a night and day difference. The title, again, the title should be considerably bigger versus the title versus the author, basically. The title is much more important than the author. You can see he tried to do it. He tried to actually create a hierarchy here, but it's not good enough. And even more importantly, again, sure, all these images, beautiful, right? But you need a gradient here or an actual rectangle with a black rectangle with a low opacity. So that's one of the things that really makes a difference. Because here's the thing: you create all these things for Halloween, right? Because Halloween was just around the corner, right? It's just around the corner. Well, no, actually, 31st Halloween actually went. It actually already occurred. Cool. But what happens, whatever, for Easter, right? What happens when the entire content scheme changes to something really light with light colors? All of a sudden, your text is not going to be visible. What are you going to do? Is this going to be black and this is going to be white and this is going to be black and this is going to be white? It doesn't make any sense. Again, considering that these images, they're constantly going to change. And again, if the image is not dark enough, what are you going to do? So this is why a gradient would have been much better. Either a gradient or a color overlay or something. But you can't assume that every single cover here is going to be dark. So that's quite unfortunate. You can see that he realized that here. You can see that we do have a color overlay here. Black probably 20% or so, or something like that. I think this is actually satin, but I don't think... Yeah, I think that's just a coincidence. I don't think that he actually applied it himself. I think he just applied the color overlay. So again, quite disappointing that he didn't think things through, right? And again, you know, if this is for $200, obviously you don't care. F it, right? Submit it and it is what it is. But if this is whatever for the $2,000 prize, that's not cool. Okay, let's move on. Okay, beautiful stuff yet again. The price. Why? 16 versus whatever. Let's actually do it like that. 11. So this is, you know, leaving anti-aliasing aside, because actually it would be 15, right? Because we do have some anti-aliasing. This is another clear mistake. And it's something that constantly is on my mind because I don't actually understand why some designers seem to be able to create fantastic designs, because again, this is actually a beautiful design. It's not fantastic, but it's a beautiful design. 8.5 out of 10, no question about it. So the graphics, some of the font treatments, most parts are bang on. But then you forget something so basic like horizontal alignment, because if you've ever seen 10 minutes of any of my courses, of any of my 6 courses, you know that I constantly talk about arranging things. Use the alignment tools, use the marquee tool, use the alignment tools, make sure you center it vertically and horizontally, x-axis, y-axis. I talk about it all the time. So I really don't get it. Let me know in the general chat if you know why. Most parts of this design are bang on, while others make no sense. This is not an oversight, because again, you might say, okay, Chris, he just forgot about it. It happens. There are so many things, he forgot about it. But you can't actually forget something like that, because here's the thing. If you actually remember to, you know, to left align things, to actually manage your spacing here and here and here, to do all these things that require attention to detail, you can't actually forget something like this. It becomes automatic. It's something that's done immediately, right? It's like you saying, okay, he forgot to switch to the move tool. How many of you forget to switch to the move tool? It doesn't happen. Who actually forgets to switch back to the move tool? Oh, you're on the brush tool or on the marquee tool, and then you forget to switch to the move tool? You forget to align something? You forget to align something in an app design project? Honestly, I don't think that's a good reason. Let's actually check it out here. 138 versus 138. So again, he knows he has to align things, and then he forgets this part here. And wow, it just dawned on me. This is the actual buy icon, because I was looking at the call to action. Okay, this is not an 8.5. In terms of aesthetics, in terms of how it looks, yes, it's pretty good. It's nice to look at. It's lovely. But wow, this is the buy. This is the main action. This is the call to action. My God, you really, if you're watching this, if you created this design, you really have to make sure you watch Master Web Design in Photoshop, because this is something that I'm thinking of actually renaming that course, because some people say, okay, Chris, but I'm not interested in Photoshop. I'm interested in Adobe XD, or I'm not interested in web design. I'm interested in app design. Yeah, but the principles behind it, they're the same. The principles of design that I describe in that specific course are the same. So let me say it again here. The buy button has to be significantly bigger. You can see this part right here. The buy button is huge. Well, then why is this bag icon so small? Maybe I'm not understanding it correctly. I see we're on the favorite tab. So is this already bought? But if this is already bought, why don't we have another icon here that actually takes us to that specific, whatever this is? Book or whatever this is. See, if you're hired to create an app design, and we as designers, we can't figure out what the purpose is, what the purpose of that screen is, we don't understand what that icon is supposed to do. If we as designers don't understand it, how is the client supposed to do that? And more than that, how is the user supposed to be that? And the user, keep in mind, he can be a 50-year-old man, he can be a 60-year-old grandma, he can be whatever. A teenager, a 16-year-old. So again, if we can't figure it out, well, at least I can't, then what the hell? Now on this part, again, the problems continue. Who's supposed to actually use these buttons? This doesn't make any sense. Again, we're so focused on aesthetics that we actually forget about the actual usability. So this is what I'm trying to do in Master Web Design and Photoshop. Try and bring you to the real world, where you have to focus on getting things done, where you have to design things that people actually use. This is not usable. This is way, way too small. Let's actually measure it. So this plus icon is what? 8 by 8 in 2021. 8 by 8 pixels. Come on. Come on. It's so disappointing. And again, it's disappointing because I can see that this designer has potential, right? And just imagine, you're this designer, you have this much potential, you get a job interview, you maybe get what's it called? A test, right? A skills test, right? 30 minutes, whatever, do whatever, right? And then you fail that test, right? Because you lack certain bits of knowledge, you lack certain key things. You can't be a great chef, a great cook, if you don't know how to work a stove. Does that make sense? How can you be a great chef if you don't know how to use the stove? It doesn't work like that. How can you be a great designer if you create icons that are 8 by 8 pixels, right? And again, okay, maybe this is the zoomed out version. Maybe the real version is bigger. Even 16 by 16, it's not big enough. This is not usable, right? And again, I'm being so hard because the focus is only on aesthetics. You can see here, for example, it's not cool to have a card, a floating card. Google in material design and the guidelines, and I say this as well in my course, but Google itself says Don't add a shadow just for the hell of it. So this is floating, okay? And this makes sense that it's floating because you can see you can dismiss it here. You can do a flip, you can do it like that, right? And you then dismiss it. So that makes sense. But then why is this floating as well? And if this is an action thing, if this is an action item, why doesn't it stand out more, right? So it's again really, really disappointing. Just one quick thing. Imagine that I had to type this into review my work in the channel. Imagine me typing all this. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, overall, I think I'm gonna end this part here because again, it's just one small thing. Don't write 0.5. Just write $5, right? No matter where you are in the world, come on, $5, right? It should be something simple because again, anything that you do that's different is actually going to be a big problem for the client. This is again so small. You have this much space. Why would you not increase it? Anyway, this is it. Let me actually tell you a little bit about this book before I end this stream. So this is Venture Deals. And venture deals just means what I need to know regarding potentially getting an investor into for my oatmeal business, right? So I basically have this business, as you probably know, regarding oatmeal, and then things are going actually fairly well. I actually have I basically doubled my business in October versus September, so that's great. And September versus August, we doubled as well. So things are going great, but I still believe that I need someone with loads of experience and loads of money to actually get this to a multi-million-dollar company, right? I think I'm gonna get there by myself, but an investor would probably make things go much faster. So that's basically the essence. Now, this book is gonna ruin your day. This book is basically filled with incredibly difficult language, with incredibly difficult concepts regarding whatever equity, dilution, all sorts of things, board members, Series A, Series B, VC funds, valuation caps. I mean, just things that are gonna drain your soul, at least for me, right? So this is why I wanted to talk about this thing, at least for me. Maybe I'll remember to create an alarm for 2021 on the 4th of November. Basically, it's the following thing. The amount of stress you allow into your life is basically under your control, right? Now, I can go for this route. I can go and talk to VC funds and investors and whatnot and complicate things tremendously, or I can simplify things. I can simplify things where, okay, I'm not gonna make a $5 million company in 3 to 6 months. Maybe it's gonna take me 3 to 6 years, but the amount of stress is gonna be much lower, right? Or maybe I'm gonna take a meeting with someone and then basically I'm gonna walk away if I'm not happy with the terms. Because again, this book basically says that you're about to get eaten by vultures, by sharks, because I'm actually a fan of Shark Tank. So I had this incredibly basic but important realization that the amount of stress, the amount of stress in your life is basically under your control. Because I was constantly thinking, man, I don't really want to participate in meetings and get board members and get a mentor, because for whatever reason, this says that I absolutely need a mentor. I don't want to get into deals where I need to get a high-end lawyer. I don't want deals where I can get fired from my own company if I'm not careful regarding what I sign. I don't want to sign any contracts that would force me to work 100% on this specific thing, which would obviously not allow me to work on Udemy or whatever else on any of my Photoshop courses. And again, I was worrying so much about these things, and I realized, man, this is actually under my control. This is actually under my control. I can worry about them if they happen. Obviously, I need to have, some foresight. I have to think in advance and see what I want and what I don't want. But I don't need to stress out about all these things right now. I don't need to stress about meeting with all my investors and board members and whatever else, because that's not here yet. I'm not in that position yet. And if I don't want to be in that position, I can just say so. I can just say, hey guys, listen, if you want to invest in my company, we're going to have one staff meeting once every, 6 months. In the rest I'm gonna send you an email every month with all the information. That's that. Are you happy with that? Yes or no? And if it's no, I'm just gonna walk away. So that's something that I really realized, because here in Romania we have something that allows us to actually check on how companies perform. Right? They basically tell us, it's public information, how much profit they make and what's their total turnover. Right? And there's a company similar to mine that's way ahead of me, 13 years to be precise, and they basically have about 300 employees and whatnot, and they have about $6 million in actual revenue, and their net profit is about $50,000. So millions of dollars, hundreds of employees, but the actual profit is really small. And in most years, they've actually lost money. They've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was just thinking, man, is that something that I actually want to do? Create factories to create all these products and hire hundreds of people and stay, and participate in meetings and talk about whatever, again, with investors and whatnot. Is that something that I really enjoy doing? And the answer is no. So you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to maybe take some meetings, and if it's right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take some money, some investments. If not, I'm going to continue doing what I like doing. I like speaking with you guys. I like creating courses about Photoshop and Adobe XD and whatever else. I like doing what I like doing, right? It's as simple as that. So it's one of those things where it's fine for a certain short period to suffer for something that's greater. But in the end of the day, this book shows me that, hey, this is not the life that I want. This is not the type of thing that I want to do. So that's that's when I want to remember. That's when I want to remember, and this is why I said I'm gonna put an alarm for 2021 and remind myself that I have control of my own life, and I'm really happy and grateful about that. And I'm not gonna get into situations where the stress is off the charts. I don't want to create a huge company with thousands of employees and millions of dollars in turnover just to be miserable and unhappy. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. I want to spend more time designing and actually doing stuff to help people design better stuff. That's the type of thing that makes me joy. I'm really happy about what I do at Ovuz as well, at my company. But those things, those meetings, those lawyers, those things where you might sign things and you lose control over your company and whatnot, that's not the type of thing I want to do. So it is what it is. I may grow slower, but I'm more happy that way. So I'm not sure if that information actually helps you and if that translates to your life, but I just wanted to share it, at least for myself, and remind myself that, again, I'm in full control, and it's fine to suffer for the short periods of time, but I don't want to go on a route where for years and years I'm going to be trapped by contracts and lawyers and engagements and deals that are not making me happy. So that's how I like to end this. This is Chris signing out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on Sunday. Goodbye.